Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Friday Product Owner TGIF episode with Josh Lambert. Hey Josh, welcome back.
Hey Vasco.
So, of course, first of all, happy Friday, everybody. And now let's dive into the product owner role. So, Josh, share with us. We'll talk about what great POs look like in a minute, but share with us for now, what are some of the worst product owner anti-patterns you've witnessed in your career?
Yeah, so early on in my career, when we went through our early agile transformation, this was a brand new role for a lot of folks. I think some just kind of got voluntold and kind of placed into the role from what they were doing before. Some, strive with it. Some really struggle with it. Some it just took a little bit of time. It came very well. But early on, we struggle with especially for the poor product owners. They were on multiple teams. They didn't fully understand the role. Everything was top priority. Being on multiple teams also means that you have, you're very limited with your team. And if they don't want to work individually with a Scrum Master and try to help improve, it can just be a complete disaster. So, one individual that I had worked with in the past, they struggled early on and they knew they were struggling, but they really wanted to have feedback from myself as the Scrum Master and how they could get better. So one thing that we really worked on was just trying to convince some of the leaders who were making, the team placement decisions of like, hey, this role is just way too challenging for being on multiple teams. And, here's why, you're not hard to be there for the team. It's hard to establish priority, hard to build out the backlog. Those are all very important pieces. So, this individual is finally able to come back and with his leaders and convince them like, because they were also learning the role and all of what is agile and starting to understand, okay, this is not a role generally for being on multiple teams. And they were able to listen to us. And once we were able to get, that path going, this individual is actually able to kind of really improve themselves by, spending more time with the team, understanding exactly what the stakeholders are needing, establishing priorities, getting that backlog built out. So sometimes it just takes maybe a little bit out of their hands of some of the decisions. But I think if they are really listening, they can really improve within themselves and within the role.
And one aspect that you said, I'm not sure, but I do want to validate here. One aspect that you said, as I understood, was to work with the stakeholders for this PO to get more time to work with the team, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Yes. If they have stakeholders for one, work for this team versus this team, you get some little bit of mix up or, just not working really closely with them because you're just, this team maybe take a little bit more priority versus the other. And it's important to have that good relationship with your stakeholders.
Absolutely. And this highlights one aspect of supporting the product owners that we work with is to understand that sometimes the difficulties don't come from the product owner. They come from the context that was created for them, right? Yes. And you said that, many of the people were new to the role, and that makes the role already more difficult. When you're new to the role, there's a lot of things you need to learn. And if on top of that, you have to support multiple teams, imagine being confused and then having to work with, 2-3 teams at the same time. It ain't gonna be easy. Right. And I think that's a key aspect. The story that you just shared is a key aspect for Scrum Masters to recognize that they need to work with stakeholders to create the environment that allows product owners to perform.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's such an important role in decision making for a company. And so if they're just, sinking, it ain't going to go well. So that's very important. And, instead I'd assume this happens quite often for new companies that are forming into agile. Folks trying to make decisions and help build teams because they don't know, they're just trying, right? Everyone's doing this agile thing. I guess we should do it. It's working, but We don't have much experience behind it. So they're like, oh yeah, you can be on multiple teams because they weren't in that role before. So I think it's good that, if you have folks, even if they're struggling, that they're willing to work to continually improve and sharing that with the team.
Absolutely. But of course, there aren't only bad product owners or product owner anti-patterns. There are also some awesome product owners, and we do want to honor those here. So Josh, share with us potentially the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
Yeah. So this individual, she was new into the role. I think it was from their reorganization, and she placed in the role. She previously was a development manager, so this was completely new. But I've worked with a lot of different really good. I worked with some great product owners in my time, but it's funny because they all have ones that are really well. They all have like different styles, and especially now as a coach, like I even see it more broadly versus like just being on the individual teams. But this person was very very willing to continually learn, continually sit with me, and hey, I would like to try to do this with the team, fully supporting it. They had a vision. They were focused on establishing sprint goals and what that leads up to. Really close, fully engaged with the team. Always had one-on-ones with all the individual team members just to kind of make them feel closer. Always supporting the team. Really trust the team, and also if they meet with stakeholders, she would actually come back and say, I think, yes, I think we can do this. I think we can probably get it done within this time frame, or, for this sprint. But let me go back and share this with the team and just ensure that they're on the same page with me. So always thinking about the team and less about the individual selves, in my opinion. This is why she was just such a phenomenal product owner. Again, there's others that are like that as well. I had to pick one, right? So
yeah, absolutely, and it's great to explore, because also let's not forget that a lot of the characteristics that make a great product owner come from the people themselves, right? This is not. Of course, you can learn the product owner role and you can become better at the product owner role, but however you become better, it's always going to be you who is the product owner. So the personality of the person comes through the role as well. And it's important to understand that it is that whole that is there as the product owner. It's not just a set of techniques. It's not just a set of tools or approaches or communication strategies. It's a whole person that is there. And one of the things that you said when you started introducing this product owner was that they were ready to learn and ready to get support, right? And for me, that's like, music to my ears, as they say, because when a product owner is ready to learn and even wants the support from the Scrum Master, then our job is half done. Right? Exactly. Imagine, compare that with somebody who doesn't want to learn the role and who doesn't want to get your support. Of course, it's a much better situation. No matter where they start, if they have that attitude, it's going to make our life as Scrum Masters a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah, it totally does. Because if you have someone that's they just do it themselves, they don't take the feedback, it's just bound to not turn out well.
Absolutely. So a great example of a great product owner to finish off this week. Josh, thank you for sharing that. But before we go, do share with us, where can we find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can just search me, Josh Lambert. It should be Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. There may be other Josh Lamberts out there, but I think if you find that, you'll be able to find me on there.
Absolutely. I will put the link on the show notes. So why not everybody reach out to Josh and ask a few follow-up questions? Why not?
Yeah.
Josh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being with us and sharing all your knowledge, your wisdom and experience with us. Thank you for your generosity.
Yeah. Thank you, Vasco. I really appreciate the opportunity.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts. as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. So join us at scrummasterpodcast.com and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more full week of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.